Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99 and today we're back in Minecraft where we're going to do a build tutorial, and I'm making it up as we go along, so please bear with me if I make any mistakes. And the materials we're going to use today are pink concrete powder, pink glazed terracotta, polished blackstone brick slab, polished blackstone brick stairs, polished blackstone brick wall, black stained glass pane, and the closest door that I can find to a black is the dark oak door, so that's the one that I chose to use. But of course you can substitute any of the materials for a different colour or a different style if you prefer. So today we're going to be building a pink and black house. So we have a nice little piece of flat land here. As you can tell, it's not going to be a huge house, but I'm going to try and put in a little bit of detailing. So the main body of the house is going to be pink, and then we're going to use the black for the accents. So I was thinking we have the wall, then a space, then a 2 wide window, then a space, then a front door, then a space, then a 2 wide window, and then a space, and then the wall. So that will be 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we need one extra, 11. So that's 11 blocks long, and I'm going to make it a square, so it's going to be 11 by 11. So I'm just double checking that I've got the right dimension there. So there we go, 11. And then on the side we've already got 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I think we might have to move some trees, because again I'm not building very close to the trees. So if we go across again by 11, oops, a little bit of grass in the way, and then form a square. So 11 by 11 square. So this is the outside wall, and let's place the, oh hang on, that's not right, is it? I said you're going to have the door right in the centre, so I've put that wrong. So it's 2 wide windows with the wall, then 1 space, then the 2 spaces for the window, then 1 wall, space for the door, 1 wall, 2 wide window, 1 wall, and then the side. So it's 2 at either end and then 1 either side of the door. So I hope that makes that clear. So I'll pop the door in, I want it on the inside side so it's not all flat at the front, and then we're going to use the black glass to make a 2 by 2 window. So 1, 2. So there you go. You can see what I'm thinking here. You see, so that everything's nice and evenly spaced. So for the floor, I'm going to use the pink concrete powder. I'm struggling to speak today. Right, so, and that's not right. The pink concrete powder, please. So we're going to make the ground floor in the pink concrete powder. So it kind of looks a little bit like sort of speckled tiling. I kind of like the texture. You can't tend to use it to build a lot because it just collapses, because it doesn't stay supported, it just falls down like sand. So for a floor texture, this is actually quite a good material. So I really quite like that pattern, you see. So I'm going to use that for the ground floor. Can't use it for the higher floors, obviously, because it'll just fall down. So I don't want to make the house too big, so I don't want to put in a support structure so it doesn't fall. So higher up we'll use the glazed terracotta, the patterned one, for the upper story floor. But I really kind of like that concrete powder. I think it's quite a nice one, especially on a ground floor. Lovely texture. So now we can fill in the spaces on this front wall up to the height of the windows, and there you can see now exactly what I meant by the gap space. So then we'll put a row on top of where the windows are, like so, and then we'll go another row. Now this is going to be the height where I think the floor will go. So we're going to use the pink glazed terracotta to make this higher wall. So this is where we're going to put the floor. And we're going to have to change that a little bit because the pattern's not going to work properly. But I just want to mark where it's going to be so that we don't lose track. I'm just going to knock a little bit off the edge of the tree. I suspect we'll have to completely remove those trees before we're done. Yeah, I think that will give us enough space to be able to do it. So now what we need to do is do the same on all of the other sides. Exactly the same as we did on the front. Except for the door, of course. We're not going to want a door in all 4 walls. I do think we'll want a door in 2 of the walls. Now the question is going to be where you would prefer your second door to be. Now, traditionally, most people would put it in this back wall here, but because we've got the trees, I do think we will remove them. But I think to do something slightly different, I think I'm going to put the door as a side door, so it'll be in one of the side walls. And since there's a building already very close, just off to the right there, I think we'll put it on the left where these sheep are. So I think we'll have our door on that side. So as you can see, we've got the end wall, then we've got one space, then we put a 2-wide window in. We do that at both sides of the wall. And then whichever side you decide to put your second door in, you just put it right dead centre in the wall. So whichever side fits best into where you're building yours. And then we're going to want a full 2x2 window higher up, but I'm not sure that we're at the right height there, so let's double check where we are first. So if that's where the floor's going to be, then we're going to want another row of the pink concrete and then the windows on the row above that. So keep that in mind when you're building the house. So now what we want to do is add this flooring in, but we're going to have to figure the pattern out and keep rotating so that we get the proper design of the pattern. I mean, you can just drop them all in and not worry about the pattern. It still looks fine, but I prefer it to actually match pattern. Now that's not right, so we're going to have to figure out the rotation, aren't we? So yeah, so that one's right, and this one, no. Just give me a second while I try and figure out how the pattern's going to work. Right, so we want every second one to be like that. Let's see. No, that's not right. Oh, facing inwards. Right, so if we point straight inwards, that sorted that one. Right, so now we're back to trying to... Oh, pointing inwards. Right, every second one just like that. And then rotate. Yes. Oh, I think we figured it out. I think we might have figured it out. Right, so if we come to the end... No, one of them... Yes, right, so every second one like that. Yes. And then face towards the front wall again, I think, for the one in between. And I think we might have figured it out. Yes, we figured it out. Oh, yay! Right, so we can get this flooring in. See, I'm being particular about the pattern, but if you don't mind, you can just put them down and they'll all be facing the same way. So it still works, it's just a slightly different pattern. And of course, if you don't like the patterns, you just go for a plain floor. You can use any of the concretes, bricks, woods, whatever you want, and whatever colour you want, of course, if you don't like the pink and black. There was a comment on one of the videos asking for a pink and black house, so that's kind of why I'm doing this, but this is quite a small, simple house that you can make in any colour that you want, actually. And to be honest, any of the other houses that I've made, you could just change the colours if you don't like the ones that we've got, so customise things to your heart's content. Right, we're nearly here with this. It's kind of like a flower pattern, isn't it? I quite like... Oh, that one's not quite right. Which direction? Yes, right, so one last one. No. There we go. Last row, and then turn 90 degrees and pop in the gaps. Beautiful, we're done. So that now is going to be the second story floor. We will have to knock a few blocks out to put some stairs in, but we'll do that from the interior later on. So we can either fill in the two sides, or we can go and finish the front off. Let's do the sides, I think that's sensible. So if we put a row along where the floor is, and then we have one row above the floor and below the ceiling. Solid rows, that is, so we can pop in a solid row all the way along the bottom there as well. And I think this is probably going to be the floor where we put the door in, but we'll put the windows in first and then we'll knock the space out for where the door is, so it's pretty easy to just find the centre that way. And then one row at the side next to the wall, one row at the side next to the wall, then two space for the window, and then now we know where we're going to put the door because we're going to put it in this side, so it goes right in this centre. So no, that's too high. There you go. That's where we want the door. The door needs to be at the bottom of the door, needs to be where the floor is. Sensible. Right, so we want to use the dark oak door again because that's what we used on the front. And I threw it instead of placing it. Ay, ay, ay. I'm having one of them days, aren't I? Right, on the inside, so we've got that little bit of 3D texture. And we want to use the black stained glass pane to fill in the windows. Beautiful. Right, make sure we fill in all of the windows. I think we've filled all of them in now. So we've got the side door and the windows on that side. And then each of your walls should look the same apart from where the door is. So you can see we've got one gap in the corner and one gap between where the door is and where the windows are, and that should go all the way around. So we've just got one final wall to fill in here, and we'll need to add lights later. So we want one row of the concrete all at the front, and one row above the floor and below the ceiling, so that the windows are nice and central. There we go, and a row up the side, like so, row all the way along above the floor, two wide for the windows, 1, 2, there we go. We're not putting anything in the centre here, so we just fill that in, get our black glass, there we go, fill in our window there, and one more, and then that is the first story, the ground floor, depending on which country you're in. There we go. So each of the sides should be the same for the positions of the windows, and then you put a door on two walls, whichever two you choose. I've put it on the front and on the side, which is away from where we've already got our big building. And now we want a full row of the pink concrete all the way around for the upper story. All the way around. Remember, it's an 11 by 11 square. So we go all the way around with our pink concrete. Then the row above this is going to be where the windows are. So we want to go up by 3 on each of the walls. So we've got a little corner there first, and then we do a window, one row in from each of the ends. So one row on each side like so. Let's keep going around and fill this in so that we've got the basic structure set up. And then we'll set in our windows. Of course, we don't need any doors up here, not unless you want to make it more complicated. I'm going to keep it a very simple little traditional sort of shape of house. Fill up the one set of wall there, go all the way across the front, and we've got a basic box structure. Now we want 2 by 2 windows, one in from the side, like so. 1, 2, fill in, and then fill in the centre. One row, 2 by 2 window, 3 blocks in the middle, a 2 by 2 window and a 1, 2 by 2 for the window. Oops, that didn't go in line, did it? Come on, Kitty, you can fix this. There we go. So now, oh, last one, 1, 2, fill in, 3 in the centre, and 2 by 2 window. There you go. So that is all the basic structure. As I said, all of them are the same, so it's easy to see if you've made any mistakes. Then we want our black stained glass pane to fill in all of our 2 by 2 windows, and then we've got our basic structure for our house all ready. And there we go, nearly all the way around. Just on the front now. Beautiful. Last one. There we go. Quickly check we've done them all. Yep, everything's filled in. And there we have our basic structure for our pink house. And now I think we want to go up by one more row so that we've got space to add our roof. And then on the interior you're going to have a 4 block height for each floor to work with. And then so it's nicely finished off, I'm going to put in a ceiling, again using our pink terracotta patterned blocks. So we're going to have to figure the pattern out again, I think, as we go. There we go, so face forward, every other one, and then face inward. Yeah, I think we've got it now. Oops, not on top, same floor. There we go, every second one. Like so. A little bit fiddly sometimes to get these patterns right, but I do think it's worth it just to spend that little bit of extra time. Just makes me much happier with it when I've got it all set up right. I just really like it set up as the proper pattern. I'm putting those in every second one. There we go. Oh, that's much easier now that we've figured it out. Well, if I put it in the right place it is. We'll have a little bit of space up here in the loft, but I don't think we'll actually be using it for the build that I'm making. We might have enough space up here to do something with it if you want to later. So I think the ceiling will be quite tall, so yeah, you're probably going to have enough space to do something up here if you want. I'm thinking that the interior, it's quite small, so I think we'll have one room downstairs as an open plan sort of living kitchen area, and then upstairs will be bedroom, maybe a little bit seating area, maybe a desk. Keep it very simple. I'll do all of the interior in the next episode. I might have to finish the roof and stuff off in the next episode as well, because I think this is going a little bit long, possibly, especially with having to place this terracotta pattern stuff. It just takes that little bit longer, and I want to make sure I've explained things properly so it's easy for you to follow the build design as well, if you want to build it for yourselves. I do kind of like playing around with some of these bright colours. It's just makes me smile sometimes to see all the bright colours. I know that's not to everyone's taste, but that's why you can always change the materials to a different colour if you're happier with something a little bit more traditional in the building materials. I think this house would look quite nice in either one of the bricks or the stone designs as well. Just found a contrasting colour for all the details where we're going to use the black. Right, so that's the basic structure for the house, apart from the roof. So for the front, because the floor is raised up, this has been done deliberately because I want to actually put in a little like step. So I'm using the slab so that I can make it like a little tiered front. So I'm going to go 3 wide, and then we're going to put the single slab all the way around the edge there, just to make it like a nice little step up detail at the front of the house. I quite like that. I'm not quite sure what to do above the door, because I think I want to make the windows quite grand, so I don't think I'm going to have much space for above the door. I think we might just have a step or something there above that, just as a little bit of a rain shelter. But the windows are going to be like the more detailed, fancy addition to this piece of the house. So what I want to do is start with the polished brick stairs, and we're going to place them above the window, and then we're going to curl them round at the side so that you get that shaped structure which kind of mirrors what we've done with the step. So 2 straight on, and then you go round the corner so that you just get the shorter piece on the top, so it looks like a nice stepped structure above. But I don't want to make underneath the window quite as big by doing the reverse of that, so I'm just going to use the slab underneath. And this is where you'll see why we won't have much space for making the above the door a fancy overhang, because there's not going to be much space left once we've made these windows beautiful. So we want to put the slab, we want 4 of them straight across under where the window is, so straight under the window and then to the 2 sides of it. And then we're going to use the wall at the sides to link the two together. So we've got this very fancy design around the windows, and we're going to have to do that on every single window. So again, this is going to take a little bit of time to put all of that together. In fact, I might not do all of them on camera, just so we can make the video not super long, because I think we're going to have to do it in 2 parts already. But that's kind of the idea, and now you can see why there isn't a lot of space for the door. And although the step under the door is quite wide, you can't actually utilise it, but it looks nice from the front. So I do think above the door you're either going to have a single slab or a step, and I've managed to put the step in my hand. It's a while since I've played Minecraft actually. I think maybe it's reverted some of the controls to the standard ones, so I'm going to have to go through that and check that later, but I might make a few mistakes here because I think it's reset my controls, so I think I might make a few little mistakes here and there. Right, so for the window above, again, put the steps right above the window and then turn it round so that you get that tiered effect on both sides, and do the same above the other one. Then the slab goes below the window and one to each side, and do the same on the other one. 4 slabs in a line, swap to the wall, fill in the 2 gaps at the side of the window, and that is the front of the building. So that's basically what we're going to be doing on all the other sides. So we just need to repeat all of that again. Oh, no, not the wall. We want the slab, the polished black stone brick slabs. So you can either do the slabs exactly like I did on the front, or you could just use the stairs and make it a little turned in structure there under the door with a stair above the door. So it depends how you want it to be. Do you want it to be exactly the same as you did before or not? See, if you put the big structure above the door, then you can't do the windows design like we did on the front. So if you want to switch it up and not have the fancy windows on all sides, you could maybe make the side door a little bit more fancy, but I would prefer to make the windows more fancy. You see, again, for a slightly less fancy design, you could just put slabs above and below the windows. But I'm going to do the same as we did on the front, but I just want to give you a couple of alternatives in case you want to change it up a little bit on the different sides, or you find that the front that little bit too overwhelming. You can just adjust the design to suit your own tastes and your own build and your own world that you're building. I was just thinking you could also potentially use like a trapdoor design and put it at the sides of the windows for shutters instead. And something like the dark oak, if you use the dark oak doors, just to match it, and then you can just put it at the sides, just to make the sides a little bit less complex if you think it's a bit too overwhelming. I like the ornate design personally, but I know it's not to everyone's taste. It could be a little bit too much for some people. Right, so we'll go back to what we were doing. We want to start with the slab, so we run 4 across underneath, and let's do the other one. Trees are in my way again. It's an ongoing saga, me and trees, isn't it? And me and animals. It's either always a tree in the way or there's an animal trying to live inside my house every time I build. It's so funny. And then if I did a survival world, which I haven't really played survival, I did a few episodes of one once a long time ago, and I never really played it, so that could be funny for you to watch. Very terrifying for me though. So yeah, let's do the above the door. So use the stairs, 2 above the window, and turn round at the 2 corners so you've got that tiered effect. And that's the ground floor done. You can't quite see that as well because of the trees are in my way again. And then for the top floor, stairs above the windows and above the windows, and then rotate at the side so we get that tiered effect. And the other way, and back on the other one, and around the side, and then the wall by the side of the windows, coming down, and again. There we go, and then the slab to go underneath, 4 slabs in a row, underneath the window and underneath the walls. Might be easier to place the slabs before you place the walls, because that was a little bit tricky there to get the icon properly, so we can place it. There we go. So that's the front and the side with the door in, and we will do the other 2 sides. I think I might do most of that off camera though. I think the episode's going a little bit long now, so I will off camera do the other 2 sides, putting the details around the windows, and then in the next episode we'll put in the roof. We'll do a little bit of work on the garden. We're not going to make it a complex garden, we're just going to add a couple of little details just to make it look lived in, and then we'll go and do an interior. It's not going to be a complex interior, it's going to be a nice simple one, so very easy to do, and that I think is the plan. So hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. From SoftKitty99, goodbye and happy gaming!